Hey guys, welcome back to Mike's Nerd Cave. Today we're on Cave Conversations episode 6, and we've got a special guest on tonight. It's John from Hops and Brews. John, do you want to say a little more about yourself?
Yeah, like you said, I'm John from Hops and Brews. I do a beer YouTube channel where I discuss different flavors of beers. I dive into how the flavors and particularly weird ones go, and I do some other interesting things with beers. Of like, hey, let's introduce CO2 to this bike pump and see what happens, or helium, see what it does. And you also might see me. I also co-host a tech channel with my good friend Jeff on a small, tiny little YouTube channel called Craft Computing.
Yeah, if you guys want to see how to make a Budweiser 40%, go check out this guy's channel.
Yeah, there's that. Did that.
So, obviously, with you being Hops and Brews, what are we drinking tonight? We'll start with you.
Yeah. So you asked me like, oh, what do I want to drink? It's like, I looked through my fridge and I have a lot of stuff in my fridge. You've probably seen images of it. And I was thinking something dark today. And so I went with what is this is what's happening when you find a stranger in the Alps, which is a reference to the dude.
Hmm?
So uh, this is a White Russian milk imperial stout, 10.5%, with lactose, marshmallow, coffee, vanilla, and heavy cream.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. I know it's cocktail month on some channels right now, and a
Yes.
White Russian always sounds good. So,
Right? I know. I actually did a video comparing White Russian flavored beers to a White Russian cocktail to see how well they balance this. And actually, I wanted to use this as a follow up, but I was like, you know
mhm.
what? This is a special occasion. Let's open this now.
Well, awesome. Thank you. Well, I'll bring it back over here, and for mine, it's Evil Twin Brewing, OFYMD, Maple Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Maple Stout, maple twice. And it's a pina colada style stout with pineapple and coconut, aged in maple syrup bourbon barrels.
Oh, I want to try that so bad.
Yeah,
That looks awesome.
it sounds so weird. And part of the reason I decided to pull it out today is I looked it up on Untapped. There's only like 8 reviews, and it already has the discontinued
Oh,
logo on it.
that's like the best.
Yeah, and
That means
it's rated like
rare.
4.2 or something. So it's not like it's like, oh, it got 8 reviews and it was so bad they discontinued it.
Yeah. No, that sounds delicious. Oh.
Yeah, I get to hear you guys brag about all your West Coast breweries all the time. And I like to think I'm fortunate enough to be in New York State where we have Evil Twin. We got a couple others like that too. So
No, New
luckily
York
we've
New York has some pretty good stuff. Evil Twin is usually a must a lot of time. There's a Mexican chocolate stout from there I've been always wanting to buy. But the problem is, and I don't know how expensive it is over there for you, but like probably a bottle what you have would be about $35, $36 here on the
oh
East Coast.
yeah. This one was 18.99.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So that's the problem is Evil Twin, stuff like that. It's expensive when it gets over here.
Yeah. Are the one you thinking of the Mexican version of the Need More Jesus?
Yes, but there's like a
Yep.
double barrel aged Mexican one, and
I've had a few of those in the last couple weeks because Skull always gets jealous of them, so I purposely send him pictures.
yeah, no, I always go there. I'm like, oh, I'm at the bottle shop and it's just staring at me. I'm like, $36, one bottle, or I could buy 5 bottles, one bottle or 5 beers. Like,
Yeah, that's tough.
I don't know. It's tough. And and I'm probably not going to drink that right away, too. That's just going to be one of those big beers you have to enjoy and take your time. But then the rest of the week you're screwed.
Yeah,
So I want that 5 beers, and I know if I bought both, my wife would probably yell
yeah.
at
Oh,
me.
I know that exactly. I've been trying to just stop at the bottle shop less
Yeah,
because I can't go in there without picking up a couple big things.
it's
And then
almost impossible.
yeah. So, and it's even worse. I got the new job and it's on the commute. So
Oh,
I
that's the
drive
worst.
by it twice a day and I'm just looking at like, nope, not today.
Yeah, I know mine is about 7 minutes from my work, and on lunch, I'm just like, they make a pretty good burger.
That's
And
awesome.
I didn't get lunch today. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go there. And then like $60 later, like, well,
Hmm.
babe, I didn't have lunch. I'm sorry. And then this was rare, and this is the only time they made it, and I can't get this anywhere else, or something like, or I need this for my channel. That's what it's so interesting. I need it for the channel. That's what I love doing now.
Yeah, that's the play.
That's the play. That's why I started the channel.
To drink with friends?
Well, I always do that, but
Right.
it was basically I needed an excuse.
Yeah. Well, it's a good one. And
Yes.
speaking of the channel, we can get onto that. And I guess how I kind of found you. And I mean, based by the shirt, I found you through craft computing. I actually stumbled upon Talking Heads probably, it's getting close to 2 years ago now.
Oh
And
yeah.
they used to be the thing I would put on when I was working overtime. And I just needed something to listen to in the background. And then all of a sudden, I was getting more into the beer. And he kept calling you Hops and Brews. And I didn't get it because I was just like half listening, doing work and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
It's like,
then
oh, that's his nickname.
yeah, and then you'd plug your channel and I'm like, oh, I gotta check this out. So I've been watching you now for about a year, probably, maybe a little more.
Ah,
And
no, thank you.
yeah, no, and it's great. You've even in the last year, you've evolved a lot with the work you've done to your studio, the new fridge. Everything you've been doing is awesome. And actually, this last week, I made the effort to go back, and I've seen a couple of your old videos, but not many. So I went
Okay.
back and I started from the beginning.
Oh,
I
ouch.
had to know where
Ouch.
Hops and
Oh.
Brews came from, and that was a lot of fun. And I think we'll get into that a little bit later on here. But yeah, guys, definitely check out his channel. He's personally inspired me quite a bit. Seeing someone, he has about double my subscribers right now. It's almost like a contest. Like I wanna. I saw when he was
Oh,
back around where I am about 6, 7 months ago. I'm like, oh, maybe I can catch him. And then he just took off this past holiday season and shot above 1,000. And yeah, it's
and then
fun.
I plateaued again.
I mean, it's gonna happen, but
No,
yeah,
I
that
don't.
that was a big jump, and it was really awesome to watch.
Yeah, I think if you especially watch some of those old ones, oh man, they are brutal. I remember filming the very first episode and thought I was projecting so hard to my camera, like just yelling at it. And then I go into post and edit it, and it's very just straight mono. Hey guys, I'm John with Hops and Brews. Let's do this.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm like, oh, it's
that
bad.
that was one of the first things I noticed was the energy level, and that's something I know I need to get way better at. I still feel like I get all hyped up, and then I turn the camera on, and I'm just like, "Hi, I'm
Oh,
Mike with Mike's Nerd Cave."
yeah, no, it is a thing, and I'll have like my brother over or some friends when they want to do something fun, and it is I am this big personality on the camera, and I'm just so used to it.
Hmm.
It's that, and then I go into post and edit, and they're all shy, and it's just hard. I've learned to already. I have to even push them and guide them, ask them questions instead of them jumping in,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's been a weird ride. um, yeah, my channel's weird. It actually really just started because I wanted to do something. I used to own a bar. You probably know this story, but this is kind of how Jeff first started, and I've known Jeff for I think 10, maybe 11 years now. And back in like 2015, I opened up a tap room, and it had this second story area. And I was always into home brewing, and me and my brother and friends always did like beer competitions and some local ones. And so we are always into that. And I just said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Let's jump in. And somehow my wife said, yeah, go ahead. Oh, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna ask her again. Just go, 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 go. Go get the loan. Go find a place. Go do it. Quick, quick, quick. And so I thought I found a really cool location. It was right in it's in a historic part of the capital of Oregon, Salem, Oregon. It's right next to a courthouse. It's where all these lawyers work, and there's a lot of foot traffic there. And there's a historic theater there. And so I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then there was this upstairs area, and I never could do anything with it because there was no staircase for the public to use. So I
Huh.
just turned it into an office, and
Mm-hmm.
I had like some music equipment up there, and I would jam with my friends, and it was really cool because it had this two-way glass. So
Oh.
you would turn the lights on, and the people could see you, and you could turn the lights off, and they become mirrored again.
Oh,
And
that's
so if you had
awesome.
the lights off, no one could see what you were doing upstairs, so you can kind of spy on people, which is pretty creepy. So when I was doing that, I asked Jeff. I was like, "Hey, can you help set up my network for this place?" And yeah, give me some beer. So I did that, and he came to me about a year after I opened, and he said, "Hey, I want to do this VR arcade." And so we did the VR. He did this VR arcade, and then he's like, "You know what? I want to use this to start funding a channel, a tech channel." Yeah, go ahead, do it. You want to go up there. You're supplying revenue for people coming into your arcade for me, so go ahead and do that. So if you actually watch the first, I think it's 4 episodes of Craft Computing, there's this big white room that he's in, and
Okay.
that's the top of my bar.
Okay.
Even the first Talking Heads with Rex is actually at my tap room.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah.
so uh, and then some personal life things happened. I had a kid. Um, it just got in the way. I got offered a really, really great job in the tech industry. And so I was like, I can't pass this up, but I can't afford to keep doing all of this. And
Mm-hmm.
so I ended up selling it. Jeff ended up not liking the new landlord, so he left. And we obviously still remain friends. And, I started doing that. So I was like, but I still want to I miss that bartender guy.
Yeah.
Everyone came in to see me. Like you talked to Jeff, me and my manager, we were just high energy. What you see in my
Mm-hmm.
videos now is how I was behind the bar.
Right.
And it's imagine going to a bar and you're always with Hops and Brews.
Yep.
Hey guys, what's up? Oh, try this, try this. I got the cool thing here.
Yeah.
And my specialty thing was the weirdest beers out there. Those are the ones I'm gonna serve you.
Mm-hmm.
I had people in the industry say, "You go to John for the weirdest stuff," and I loved that. So ended up trying to say I still want to do something with beer, and Jeff was doing the YouTube stuff. And he goes, you know what? I got like a Canon camera, and I know a little bit of editing software, and I know how to do that stuff. How hard could it be? You know?
Yeah.
And if you take a look at my first video, it's a lot harder than you think. It's yeah, there's a bit of work put into it, but I started with like, I'll invest $60 with a lighting kit and like some of those like green screen stands,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all. I still have the original. This is the original desk I still
Oh,
use.
okay.
Built that out of some pallets. It's
Nice.
really wobbly,
Uh,
but yeah, that's probably the one thing that's still around.
I was gonna say your
Um,
set has changed a handful of times. Another thing that hasn't changed though is your logo and your intro graphic. Now I know you put some different music to it. It'll throw a different bottle into the bunny's arms occasionally, things like that.
yeah.
But that hasn't changed. And I was wondering if you had like a story behind the name, story behind that.
Yes, I do have that. So this goes
Okay.
back to kind of like when I said, "Hey," I talked to my wife and said, "Hey, can I do a bar?" And she said, "Yeah." And then eventually she realized she made a mistake because it was such a big headache. And so I was like, "Oh, she's not gonna like me spending more time away trying to do something with beer where I'm spending money with beer." But my wife loves rabbits. We have a pet rabbit.
Oh.
We've had a pet rabbit for the past 17 years. Um, so we had one rabbit that lasted 15 years, and then she got another one. But I said, you know what? I wonder if I make a logo that's a rabbit shaped logo,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll entice her to be like, oh, see, look, this is clever, and that'll throw her off.
Yeah.
And so I found this clip art that was a rabbit holding a carrot, and then I just did some Photoshop. I was like, I'll take the carrot out, put a beer in there. And I said, look, babe, check this out. I got this idea for I want to do a YouTube channel. I'll do just some stuff. Here's the logo. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
basically, I just shoved it in her face and distracted her with everything else that I was saying. Like, but this is a cool logo. Look, it's a rabbit. You like rabbits. It's just like I modeled it after ours.
Just don't
and,
even
and
think
and
about the beer. Just
yeah,
there's a
exactly. Don't
bunny.
even think about the beer or the amount of money that I'm going to be spending every week on
Right.
beer.
Right.
Just think about the logo. And you know what? I'm going to name it. What do rabbits do? Hops. Oh, that's clever. And there's hops and beers. Oh, hops and brews. That's what I'm going to call it, babe. And so it's basically just a way to distract my wife from allowing me to do this
Oh
channel.
wow.
Is how I came up with the name and the logo.
That's a good story. I like that. That's clever. It was honestly that's more. I figured it was going to be something to do with the bar or the tap room. To be honest, so
No,
that's a fun
actually,
little
so
surprise.
I have in this new set, I have every now and then you can see it. There's my old place was called Capitol Tap Room.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and actually that one was pretty. That actually has a pretty cool story too. There was a place in downtown Salem called Capitol Brewery back in 1885 is when it opened up,
Wow.
and it was the first brewery in Salem. And originally it was called Capitol Brewery, and no one owned the rights to it
Mm-hmm.
that name anymore. So while looking up beer names and locations, I said, "Wow, that would be really cool." And so I went and bought the name rights to Capitol Brewery for Oregon. And then I originally wanted to build a brewery and tap room, a little microbrewery area. So I bought that, and I was going to resurrect the original brewery because we were only a block away from the original location, original brewery that was in Salem. And so what I did, the decoration inside the bar was a bunch of really old, all Oregon, a lot of Salem brewery, like history stuff, old pictures from the 1800s, early 1920s, 1940s. I got some really cool historic pictures, and I blew them up in like big 36, 42-inch pictures
Do you still have any
on the
of
wall.
that?
I have the digitals,
Okay.
and actually, here's two of them. So the guy who took over. So here are some like I found some articles, uh, stuff like this.
Oh.
It's old articles that have to do with. So you can see it says Capitol Brewery, and it was
Yep.
old newspaper clipping.
Wow.
And so, um, yeah, so it was really cool. I still have all the digitals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was like. I don't care if they sold them off as art later on.
Okay.
But that was I love always having at least some kind of decent story instead of just say, yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, sometimes if it sounds cool, it sounds cool. But
Yeah.
I like good stories, clever stuff. Usually when I'm playing with things, names or ideas, it's like, okay, does this sound cool? And then this one sounds super stupid and funny, kind of like what would me and my drunk friends think of? And then does this one have a clever story? And that's kind of my way of like getting ideas and names and stuff. So, and most of the time I go with the clever story
I
because I
like
like
that. I like that way
telling
of
stories.
doing it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to think that way more when I'm making a video. Uh, how to make a story out of it. An intro. It's almost like going back to English class and writing an essay where you have a thesis or something at the beginning, and then you just kind of have all the body where you do everything and the conclusion. So it keeps people
Oh,
pulled in, and
yeah.
that's harder to do than you're like, oh yeah, I'll just come up with this idea and it'll be great, and then you try to write it down. And you're like, wait, what's
How do
the
I get there?
hook?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I had come up with some great ideas for videos, and then I'm like, wait, how am I going to execute this? Oh
Yeah,
man, I need a much bigger budget. Oh wait, should I test this out first? Should I do stuff? And a lot of my videos, it is literally just I have no idea if this is going to work or not. I'm just going to hit record. Let's go. I'm going to give myself 2 hours. Let's see if this works.
mm-hmm.
And sometimes, and then there's a lot of videos I look back and like, man, I really wish I took like 3 weeks to film that and draw it out. But I'm
Yeah.
just not like that. That's the one thing that's different, say for me from a beer channel that I've seen. I've become friends with other beer channels.
Okay.
They are producing like 3 or 4 videos a day for content.
Yep.
because it's just them sitting, crack open a beer, pour. Yeah. That's really good. All right,
Yeah.
see you guys later.
Yeah, I've watched a couple others, and I don't get pulled in as much as with yours because you do other things with it. You always try to spice it up in some way. Like, yeah, I mean, you did your 12 Days of Stone, which was more of
Yeah,
the just a quick
that
reviews and stuff.
was a quick review. Yeah.
But a lot of your other stuff, you seem to add in like some type of spice. You want to add a little extra content to whatever the beer is, not necessarily to the beer, but to the
Yes.
video.
Well, sometimes to the beer I do that too.
Well, yeah, that sometimes is the hook.
But yeah, no, I also like doing that again when I try to review something, it to be an interesting beer. I don't like, I mean, yes, I do the Stone stuff. I tried doing like a beer advent calendar. That's why I did that,
Hmm.
the Stone one. But a lot of the reviews, I like doing either interesting beers or just there is something interesting about it or do something fun with it. Usually, if I am with someone, friends do like to come over, and I'm like, hey, I got a YouTube channel. You wanna do one? Let's do a review. And those are I do those mostly for just I'm appeasing my friends, and they wanted to be on the show, or family
Yeah.
wants to be on the show, and those are okay. But and the beers are okay. It's usually just, hey, you want to try this rare beer, and
Yep.
those are usually when you'll see a rare beer of mine pop open is I'm having a guest over.
I
But
mean, like, you used to have your brothers on, and one of your brothers, Steve, is on the Talking Head show we've referred to a couple times over on Craft
yes,
Computing, and I've noticed I mean, there was videos he was in it back at the beginning. I know you guys did all of the series of Trip in the Woods videos,
yeah, we tried to do.
which
Oh man, you did one.
that's one of my favorite beers. So that's why I kept clicking on them. Is
Oh yeah.
all of those different variations I absolutely love. But
I still have two more I have to go through
ooh,
with them. That's probably been in my fridge for a year and a half.
ooh, okay, yeah, I'll have to. I'll stay tuned.
it,
But
but it's one of those of like, hey, let's do this,
mhm.
or I have this, and he's like, yeah, let's do that
You
one.
can tell he got more comfortable too. I think between your channel and Jeff's channel,
Oh yeah,
that so I think when you do have a guest on, he's probably one of the easiest ones to bring on because he's also he has the experience talking to the camera. I don't know. Has Rhett ever been on your?
Rhett is the only one that has not been.
Okay.
I have beers for Rhett, and we planned to do it, and obviously, last year was really hard, and on a lot of people, so that took that factor away. But no, I talked to Rhett. It was I think about 2 weeks ago. We're hoping that with summer and everything, we're gonna all of us again. We're gonna be able to do more stuff together again. So, but yeah, I have
Cool.
stuff specifically for Rhett. Rhett is more of a domestic kind of guy. He likes the lighter stuff. It's not that he doesn't
Yeah.
like high stuff, and that's kind of the funny thing too. Of all of these guys, I got them all together at my bar.
Yeah. No.
And that's how they all met was because of me, or I should say my friendship. I didn't push them all together; it was my friendship. So, and I got Rhett into beer. Rhett actually used to do a kind of um, pop culture podcast, but he also had a beer all the time.
Oh,
And
okay.
so he was actually sponsored by a brewery too.
Wow.
Kind of, yeah. Wasn't a good brewery.
Well, is it? What's the one you guys always bring up?
Gilgamesh?
No,
No,
it
that wasn't it.
it might be. What's the beer you guys always? I think it starts with an R.
Rainier.
Yeah, Rainier. That's the
Rainier,
Rhett
yeah.
beer now.
That is the Rhett beer. I have a bottle. Hang on, let's see. Where is it
I
at?
don't think we have that out here. At least I've
It,
never seen it.
it's like the Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So
it's
it's
like it's that old, that cheap.
okay.
Um,
So all of the hipsters drink it.
yes, it is a big hipster. It is that 50 cents a can. I have a bottle though for Rhett that is the 100th anniversary of Rainier, and which was back in '72. So it's 150 years old.
Okay, so I wonder what
Or
a hip.
it's 50 years. The bottle itself is 50 years old, and it celebrates the 100th anniversary of Rainier. That's what it is.
Okay, so
So
50 years ago. what would a hipster would have been early 70s, so it would have been the
Yeah,
beginning of the bell bottoms. Would have been the hipster
and
drinking that.
they were still drinking it, and Rainier was around 100 years prior to that.
Okay, wow.
So, but I have a bottle celebrating that, and that's a gift for Rhett, and I don't know where I put it. I even have it in the original case too. It has like the sleeve and everything. I found, and I don't know if you got to this yet, but beer from Oregon that was canned in the or bottled in the 70s or
Yep.
69. And yeah, okay, you got all
Yeah. Oh,
that.
that was one I watched a long time. That one got recommended to me a few months back. That was probably your first early video I ever watched.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Um,
have a couple more of those.
Speaking of your early stuff and getting back to kind of this,
Right.
what are I guess the hardest, the biggest challenges you've had over the last 3 years from when you started a YouTube channel till now? And I know I kind of made a
Oh.
joke. You drink a lot of pickle beers. That might have been,
I
those might be the biggest.
that is a hard there's a lot of ups and downs. It is hard to for my content. It's different. It's not a very widely popular, doing tech, doing pop culture, entertainment. It's going to reach a much bigger audience. So you can
Hmm.
once you grow, you just skyrocket, once
Oh,
you
yeah.
go off. Where beer is, not so much.
Hmm.
And early on, I did focus mostly on, okay, let's just do a review. Let's talk interesting. And my reviews were even long because I wanted to do. I thought the interesting thing was you're gonna watch me drink the whole beer on camera. I'll fast forward it, but you're gonna get my opinion from the beginning to the middle to the end. I thought, well, no one's
Yep.
done that, but no one cared.
I,
No one really cared, other than the hardcore beer reviewer guys, and they
hmm.
thought they liked it, but it just, there's maybe a couple thousand people in the United States that want to watch that. Most of them just want that two-sip review and go on, and
Right.
I didn't have time to push out 5 videos a week. I can do one or two a week.
Hmm.
So understanding that was pretty hard. Also, learning how to shoot my videos was pretty hard. Getting good equipment, lighting, how to do all that. Like you said, like you've seen, my stage and area has
Yeah.
changed and morphed. And I've always tried to make it look a little bit better, a little bit more professional. That way I can be more of a character and an entertainment factor. I
Hmm.
can still have beer be the main focus, but I want to do something different with it. So I've learned that, but it took me a long time to find that process. That was really hard, but choking through some really bad beers. The pickle beers, I've had beers that tasted like a sponge and soap. It's horrible. Actually, the
Oof.
pickle beers are probably the worst. That it is. I think I even titled it the worst beer I've ever had.
Hmm.
Um, and it was a pickle beer. Recently, I had two not horrible ones.
Right. But you
Um,
said they've been more cucumbery than pickly.
they are
So
more cucumber, and the worst one I had was 50% dill pickle juice, and so
okay.
they just took a gose and pickle juice and they 50-50'd it, and
Hmm.
that's what they did.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I don't think I would enjoy it. I don't know.
I mean, if you
I'm
like
weird.
pickles,
I hate pickles, but I enjoy pickle juice for some weird reason. And
you would probably like it then.
it's for me personally, I started drinking pickle juice when I played beach volleyball in the summer because it worked way better than Gatorade at getting rid
Hmm.
of cramps. We would bring a jar of pickle juice and just
That's what I did.
between matches chug a couple gulps of it down and you'd be feeling good and then you could go back to drinking beer between games. And that was just the way you did it. And I think that kind of taught me, even though still can't do pickles, taught me how to enjoy pickle juice itself, which is so strange. But
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm actually after that video, the brewery got a hold of me. That is the other cool part is I kind of got a little bit big enough. 1,000 subscribers in the beer community is like 200,000, like Jeff.
yeah,
I'm that size in the beer community, um, which is a very very tiny community. But still, breweries will
well,
talk to me now.
I've been
And
super excited. I'm gonna cut you off. I just want to tell you, I've been super excited for whenever. I don't even know if you have it yet. I feel like I've been kind of annoying with this one because I'm excited to see it. But I sent out some beers to Jeff a while back, and one of them was a Mortalis beer, and he drank one of them on Talking Heads,
oh yes,
and
yes, yes,
absolutely rubbed it in.
yes. I
Um,
remember
I don't
that.
know if
Uh,
he's gotten you the second one, but
he has not gotten it.
that's a friend of mine who I used to work with opened that brewery um, about three,
I
4 years
actually
ago.
funny, interesting story is I was talking to Tavor today, and told them to look that brewery up.
Ooh.
And I said, you guys, I mean, it was mostly just, I don't think I was talking to anyone big, but I've talked to Tavor enough to it. They're a tiny company. There's only like
Hmm.
8 people there. So you talk to someone, you're probably talking to someone who can talk to the right person. And I
Yeah.
said, and they're always looking for breweries that have a
Okay.
high star rating. And I was like, you guys need to go check this place out.
Yep.
They are a fantastic brewery, and they
Ooh.
also love sick labels, and they got some
Oh,
sick labels.
yeah. I really like the labels they've been putting out. And actually, you know, Other Half?
Yes.
So, Other Half, they have 2 locations in Brooklyn now, one in DC, and one right up the road from me in middle of nowhere, Bloomfield, New York. And the reason they just moved up here is because they've been doing collaboration stuff with Mortalis to the point where
Oh,
they wanted to be close to them. I mean, that's part of it. The other part is the Finger Lakes region is pretty good for beer and wine. They have a ton of wine trails, and now the craft brewery industry is taking some of that business as well. So they capitalized on that a little bit, but
yeah.
they every year they do a number of collaborations the last couple of years with Mortalis, and now they can be just a town away from them. So I think that was
That
pretty big for them.
that'd be cool. Yeah. No, I love anytime I ever get like beer trading, people always ask me, "Oh, what do you want?" I'm like, "Whatever the smallest brewery is around you, I want that stuff. I don't
Yep.
want like if there's a evil twin, whatever. No, no, I don't need that. I don't even need a big bourbon barrel aged stuff. I want the regular stuff, but it's the tiniest place, and you have to go to the brewery to get it.
Yeah, because it's
No one's
something you're
ever
never
heard of.
gonna have
I'm
over
never
there.
gonna have it. I don't care if I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm never gonna have it,
Right.
and that's what I want to try. So yeah. Again, back to the tap room that's what I did. I actually was the first tap room to do that to a lot of breweries. I gave them shots of like I will go to your place and I will pick up a keg and I will deliver it back to you, and just let me serve your beer here. There was a lot of places I introduced people to a lot of new breweries and stuff. And actually, even there are some still practices done today in Salem and events that they have blatantly said John was the one who started this, and we just want to keep doing it.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's awesome.
but
No, I
yeah,
think I'm gonna have to name this episode "Beer Greater Than Symbol Tech," and I'm okay with that because this is
yeah,
this is a great time. But I do have a couple more questions I want to get to
yeah.
here, and back to your channel,
Okay.
specifically the tech and the stuff you're using on it. I want to know like 3 pieces of gear that you've like used for making videos. Maybe you've acquired either since you started or before you started that you just couldn't do this without it, live without.
Yeah. Actually, and that's a pretty easy answer. One is my camera. I started with a Canon 60D, and it was like the original model, so it had even a lower sensor in it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a stock lens, and I knew nothing about uh, filming. I knew a little bit about photography, and only because so I'm the youngest of 7. So if you've seen Steve's not even my oldest brother. There's an episode with
Mike.
all of my brothers. Mike's younger than I am,
Oh,
actually, or
okay.
younger than Steve. There's one episode with my oldest. His name is George, and
Okay.
then there's still 2 sisters in there. And so
Hmm.
my dad was really into computers and photography. Now he was into computers back in 60. He was doing computer programming back in '69. So the
Wow.
big old punch card. He used to
Yep.
program for that type of stuff, and he's always been into photography. So I was kind of like was in the background seeing those two things, and so I bought the Canon 60D for just photography. And I was like, yeah, I could do filming with this. And as you can see with the early results, it wasn't. And it wasn't until I started talking to Jeff, that he's like, no, you have to pay attention to your glassware and your camera. And he
Hmm.
really helped me. So the probably two of the big things is I upgraded to a Sony A6400,
Yeah.
and he got me some two really fantastic lenses, some Sigma lenses, a 16 millimeter and a 30 millimeter, and those two things, those right there, have been fantastic. And then to the editing side, and this goes to a bit more tech, is the computer,
Yep.
and knowing I need a very good processor to handle the editing, at least with Adobe Photoshop
I was
or
gonna say,
Adobe
so you
Premiere.
use Premiere if you need a good processor.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I need a really good processor. And there was actually an episode of Craft Computing that has never been aired, of us building this. And it was shot after a Talking Heads. So we were two
Oh.
beers in, two big beers in, and we had, like, a shot before we started shooting. And then we started shooting, and it was like almost midnight, like 11:30. And in the episode too, we're drinking, and it was just, hey guys, this is Jeff from Craft Computing. We're gonna build John a new PC, and it was just horrible sounding and everything like that. And so, but that was the computer, and it really, really made a huge, huge difference. So, the big things are probably my camera, my lenses, and a really decent editing rig.
Yeah.
If you're going to do those three, as far as decor and all of this, if you got the time, you got the location, you want to make
Hmm.
it happen, depending upon your channel, none of this matters. But
Yeah.
good camera, good quality stuff like that, and actually probably good audio. That's one thing I still struggle with today, is good audio. A lot of people say I would rather have good audio
Hmm.
than good video, because, like, just like you referenced, I listened to it while I was working.
Right.
It's almost more of a podcast, but with a video if I need to go back and watch.
Well, and that's
And
exactly what I'm doing with these is putting out a video that it's like, oh yeah, you can sit here, you can watch it. We might show something occasionally, but this is more down the road. I'm going to upload them as podcasts, but also so
yeah,
someone can sit while they're working or doing something else and have something enjoyable to listen to. Maybe hear a story they enjoy, something
yeah.
like that. Because I've become so fond of listening to them. I was like, I'd like to try and do that too.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's a great, fantastic thing to do. I mean, anyone can do it now. That's the beauty of, the social media stuff and just podcasting and all these different platforms. It's, if you want to do something, you have a hobby. Trust me, there's other people out there that probably want to see you do that, or are like-minded and want to either hear that or watch that.
yep.
As dumb as it probably is, I mean, how many channels are there of people eating food? And they have millions of hits, and it's them on their cell phone. How many times do we see tech reviewers and they just pop out their cell phone? Like, take a look at this, and it's an unsteady camera or anything. That's what you
Yeah.
start out with,
Well,
and
some
it's
of them
great.
are still doing it because they had
Yeah,
the personality, they got the following. I feel
yeah.
like one of the ones you might recognize, Kyle from Bitwit.
Oh yeah,
His half of his stuff is, all right, I'm going into one hand cam, one hand work, and he's just like
yeah,
working on stuff with the camera in the other hand, but he's got
yeah.
the
It's
personality
still
to pull
selfie
it
stick.
off.
Yeah,
Yup.
it's still the selfie stick stuff, and
Yeah.
he's got that personality. He just doesn't know how to open up a corked beer.
No.
You know.
Oh man. When they showed that again in their, I don't know if you watched the breakup video.
Yeah,
Oh no. But yeah, that
yeah. That
was
was sad.
it is.
In the back of my head, though, I was kind of like, "Oh, this is gonna make Talking Heads huge,"
Well, it
which
did.
internally makes my channel bigger. This is all good news for me.
Jeff, plug me one more time.
I know, Jeff.
Wait,
Start plugging me twice the time.
phrasing. But um so back to the gear though, I had one other part to that, and that's your dream piece of gear. We talked about three things that you already have you can't live without, but if you could add one thing, anything at all, to your channel that would help you with your workflow or
Oh,
whatever.
Oh, it's not. That's not even helping. I know there's one thing I really want, and I actually was looking for it the other day. I want like an ultra high speed camera because I love, and I want it to be a second one. I would love to have it actually multiple, but at least a second one right now of like 4K, 120 frames, maybe even higher. I'd love even higher. High speed camera, high def camera, because I want those sexy beer pours, where it just
Yeah.
splashes and you can just slow it down. And I tried to do that, and I'm a single camera, single person, single lens production, and it's hard. Every now and then I get a pretty decent one, but I would love to be able to get to like that multiple camera. All
Hmm.
right, this is my long lens, this is my close up lens, and I just hit record on all of them and I just go.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, really nice high speed camera with a really good lens. I would love that for just some really sexy shots
S-
of popping open a can and
Say you're looking for that the Z cam there with a Z cam
yeah,
action cam.
I I was looking at the Z Action Cam. It was a little expensive.
Hmm.
Again, one of those purchases of like, hey wife, look over there. Wipe the credit card.
Well, and that one's tough because that would use Canon lenses, and you're already shooting with
Yeah,
Sony.
and I'm already shooting with Sony, so I was
Yeah,
looking at the Sony. I think it was like the A 7 3 series, something like that, which shoots at 4K 120. So I can
ooh,
still get I still get high speed, the same
yep,
high speed, but it's in 4K.
that's
So
that's pretty
that
nice.
that'll be pretty nice if I'm so looking at that, so I can
Hmm.
my lenses will still work.
Yeah, I do
Um,
1080 120 if I need to slow stuff down.
and that's what I
Um,
do too.
do you? This is something else you could just I'll throw this in. You could ask Jeff. You know, he got that Z cam
Yeah,
for his streaming cam now. What is he doing with his ZV-1?
he's using that. Usually he does. He usually tries to hold on to about 3 cameras.
Okay,
He
I
does.
was gonna say it's
He
not going
does.
to Hops.
No, he does one for his streaming camera. He does one for his production, and then he tries to always have a spare on hand for when we're going to start doing more live events of
Mm,
going places,
that's
because he
perfect
doesn't want
for
to
it.
take those two. And so again, fortunately, last year didn't happen. We had stuff
Right,
planned, just didn't work out, and who knows what this year is going to do. It's probably not going to be till the end of the year, anyways.
right.
Again, so, but that's usually how he likes to work it, and everything else he usually sells, and he'll sell on his channel or
Right.
Discord, stuff like that. And then yeah, he'll sell it to me for a pretty decent price too.
Hmm.
Usually it goes for a little bit cheaper than other things. And he's given me some glass, some lenses before of like, well, for my Canon. And he was like, "Look, I don't need this. I don't have a Canon lens. Here you go. Just take it. It's at least
Right.
30% better than what you're using." And that's where I started to understand
Yep.
glass is just as important as your
It's
camera, and it's a lot.
I my first camera, and it's still actually the main camera I shoot my videos with, is Rebel SL2 from
Oh yeah,
Canon, and I
I thought about
have
buying one.
one of my lenses cost more than the camera, and
Oh yeah,
it's one of the best lenses I have. I love it. And
and
I
it's
have slowly accumulated a couple more, but it took a while to understand that.
yeah, no, it is. It's very hard to justify. I'm paying this much for something that's not electronic, something that's not going to do anything.
Hmm.
How good is this actually going to do anything? And you really don't understand it till you get it, until you start filming. And a lot of times too, it's then you have to set the proper settings on your camera
Yep.
for that lens. If it's not just a plug and play, there is a bit of adjusting. Knowing your equipment and knowing the limitations and what it can do is a fantastic thing,
And then
and
on
it's
top,
well
oh,
worth.
sorry. And then on
Okay.
top of all of that is the lighting. Like
Yeah.
if you don't have the right lighting, I feel like none of that matters. You can you can get the same image out of a C920 webcam as you can a high-end DSLR if you have bad lighting. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of that stuff I know was growing pains and learning stuff, like learning tough to learn for me when I first started, and I think that's something everybody goes through.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I think it is, unless you are just one of those sit down and here's the product and I'm on a table and you're just gonna review it for me. They have the blue ball microphone and
Yeah.
they're a really nice, NVIDIA webcam. That's it.
There
That's what they're going off of.
there's some people who can pull it off, and
There
more
are there
power
are
to
some
them.
people. Yeah, no, I mean, unfortunately, I think if you're doing that, you have to pump content out all the time.
That
And
and personality.
that too.
Yeah.
So
There's some people who it's like, I'll click on their video. It's mediocre quality video, mediocre sound, but I can't leave their channel because it's like, 3 words in, I'm hooked. I'm like, okay, this person, whatever's going on here, and this is like a shit post on YouTube, but I am hooked on whatever they're doing. So that's funny how that can differ across the board. How some people, you need to have the production quality, and other people it just works for their brand to not have it. So I know I started to cut you off there, but we have one other topic, a bigger topic I want to get into. But first, I just wanted to check in. How's that beer? I know we started the show. How's that going for you?
Pretty good since I'm pretty much done with it.
Oh, well, it must have been pretty good. Anything
it was.
specific that stood out to you? Or?
Other than it just being a very nice, smooth, a lot of cocoa, a little bit of vanilla. I was really looking forward to trying that heavy cream because it's supposed to be White Russian inspired, and it really just tasted like a really good milk coffee stout. So I'm a little disappointed in the fact that it's based off of a cocktail.
Right.
It didn't taste like the cocktail, and I really didn't get any of that heavy cream. It just tasted like a lot of lactose.
Okay, so if you're going for, if you're trying to be the dude, you go with your White Russian. Yeah,
just go with the White Russian. But I figured since I'm done with that, I need to open up something else, and I figured, you know what, you kind of inspired me, and so I figured I would have some Evil Twin myself.
Okay, that's I had that while I was grilling earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, you know what, I got that. I can drink that.
That one's sneaky.
It is sneaky. I used to have the Molotov Heavy on draft.
Oh, okay.
So
I mean, what was their heavy if that one's 12%?
17.
That's heavy.
I have a bottle of it too.
Okay.
But yeah, so and then they make a Molotov Light, which I believe is 10. So I don't know how 10% is light, but
right. Compared to every other light.
Compared to every other light, yeah, okay. It's like it's not
2.5 of every other light. But yeah, no. Right now I'm drinking the beer that never ends. I had a bomber, so I've refilled it a couple times now. The bomber's empty. The glass is full, and I have to say, it says there's like the coconut, the pineapple, all of that in there. The thing that stood out to me, you get a little bit of the coconut, and you can definitely taste the maple bourbon barrel flavors in there. It's sweet, it's sugary, but the pineapple, it doesn't really do anything to the flavor, but the whole body of it is lighter. It gives it that, when you eat a piece of pineapple and you have that like citrusy, it's almost the same thing when you take a sip of soda, how you get a little sparkle at the front. It almost seems like it's adding that. Yeah, exactly. It's adding the acidity at the front of it, and it lightens the whole body of the beer and makes it an easy drinker, which again at 12.9% and a bomber, that could be dangerous.
Oh, very dangerous. Yeah, you said it was like a pina colada stout, and when I heard that, I was like, okay, that shouldn't work.
Right.
I want to try that.
I was hesitant on picking it up, and the only reason I went back and grabbed it from my bottle shop was because I saw that I went to order beers from Evil Twin for my buddy who lives in Brooklyn so he could pick them up for his birthday. And they said that was a pickup only bottle. And I was like, weird. We have it at my bottle shop, and I know that the guy at my bottle shop sends people out. If he knows that someone's going someplace, he'll have them pick up bottles. So I'm like, oh, I got to go back and get this. Like, this is actually a hard to get beer. So I ran back, I picked it up, and that's the story.
Oh yeah, you will be so surprised how many times I have talked to bars or bottle shop owners or tap houses and like, hey, how did you get that beer? I'm like, we drove there and
Yep.
just picked it up or bought the bottles retail and we marked it up 25%. Yeah, we're not making a profit, but it draws people
Well, the
in.
fact that
And
you guys had Alchemist beers the same week they were canned out there,
yeah,
how did that happen?
I have
That's hard to
no
do
idea.
here.
I have no idea because even back in 2015, I was trying to get Alchemist beers. I contacted them, got a hold of them, even before they opened up their new facility, and
Hmm.
they were like, "Nope, we can't ship them there because they won't make it there in time for freshness." That's what they were
Hmm.
telling us. Like, and I said, "Can I even go there and fly there and take some back? Would you let me do that?" No, we're not going to let you do that. I was like, because we allocate all of our beers to local shops and they don't distribute. They
Right.
purposely sent so. But I think it is because they opened up a second location, and they
Hmm.
are brewing so much more now that they can just overnight stuff. And it's a good beer. I love Alchemist. I think it's a really solid. You have to try it if you like beer. Is it the greatest hazy now?
Oh no,
No.
I'll take it to Reddit Unpopular Opinions and say meh.
Yeah.
And part of that is I live here and I have noticed it's gotten much easier to pick up lately. It used to be the hardest thing to get. I can get it in my bottle shop almost any time now,
Yeah.
and because of that, I never get it.
I know that's the same thing with like over here on the West Coast. We have Pliny the Elder and Pliny the
Hmm.
Younger, and it's like, yeah, now it used to be you had to go and there were lines at the bottle shop 5 years ago, and now it's everywhere, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's a good beer, but eh, you know, I'm it's a great West Coast IPA, but there are so many other beers I'd rather have.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, unfortunately, and
Well, and then
I'd,
when
I'd
you
rather
when you
I'd
do a
rather give my money to a
video,
local place.
yeah, and when you do a video debunking how to drink the beer, when you
Yeah.
finally get it on your channel, they might not want to work with you.
Yeah, there was that. I mean, honestly, I think that whole thing, that video was a lure of essentially alchemists or they tell you to always drink it out of the can because 10 years ago, hazy beers were considered horrible.
Right.
And I think they just kept going with that legend.
Yep.
Because they have stouts, they have other beers. They don't tell you to do that. It was the
Hmm.
IPAs
Heady Topper has
and
always been their big beer, the
the big
beer that
beer.
you have to try.
And they're always saying it's the everyday man's beer. Like, no, no, no. You just didn't want people to see it. They
Right.
they even kept telling you, don't pour it out. There's sediment in here. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's like
Hmm.
you understand that the home brewer's guide or the beer judging guide tells you to always pour your beer out into a can this way to extract the aromas and everything. And you're
Right.
telling people not to do that.
Hmm.
Why? You know, and then he goes on to say, "Oh, if I leave a little sip in there, it's just as good 20 minutes later as me opening up a can of beer." All right, that's bull.
Yeah, no, and I've had enough of the Heady Toppers to know it tastes very different from the beginning to the end, whether you have it in the can or the glass.
It's like every
That's
beer.
yeah. I was gonna say it's literally every hazy IPA for sure because
Oh
you're
yeah,
gonna get the sediment, you're gonna get all of
yeah.
that, and it changes the flavor as you drink it, and it's good. That's a very good thing in some, and it can work against it in others.
So
Um,
it was just one of those things. Like I wanted to do again back to my channel. And sorry for plugging it again. Just
no, keep
something
going.
something something different. It's not that typical. I'm going to sip a beer. I'm going to do something. Hey, I have a weird thought. And you know what? I call bullshit on this, and I could
Yep.
be wrong. Go ahead and leave a comment or two in below if I'm wrong. But I'm betting I'm more right than wrong if I'm going to publish it.
Yeah, no, and I believe that. Just based on what you've done from beginning to end on your channel so far that I've seen, as the production's changed, the idea has stayed the same overall. You're still making a story. You still go in with an idea, and you fulfill what you're going to do. You've just gotten better at presenting it over time.
Thank you.
And I think, speaking of time, try and make some kind of segue, get better at this. um, Leads us into our next topic of the overall show. And this is something I'm trying to keep consistent among some of these episodes, and that's how gaming or tech has affected you in your life, or maybe left an impression on you. And I get excited because I feel like everyone could have a different answer. Like maybe a first game you played that just was like, whoa, this is different from anything else I ever did. Or maybe a first piece of tech that you or someone around you had that just was next level, like shocking. Like, how can that exist?
Oh yeah, no. When I you were saying you were asking me about this to do this show, and you said, "Yeah, this is kind of the question I always ask." I was like, "I'm excited about this question." That was something fun to talk about. And one of the I kind of tried thinking about something, and the one thing that always hits into my head of like what's a tech or gaming thing. And like I said, I'm the youngest of seven, and my dad has been doing computer programming since the 60s, 69.
Yeah.
And so I've been around computer parts and tech
Hmm.
stuff my whole life, and my brothers have been into it, so it's very familiar to me. But when you said game, there's one particular game that's always stood out to me ever since I was a little kid, and even to this day, I'm always on like a DOS box every time I'm doing something. Like I want to play that game, and it's an old DOS game called Hot Rod. And
Oh,
I remember playing it as like a 5-year-old or 4-year-old, and I knew how to do DOS, or at least
okay.
some commands in DOS as like a 4 or 5-year-old, or I was probably
Wow.
more like
That, I
6.
mean,
Uh,
and that's from your dad.
yeah, and so it was CD backslash dir all that. Like I don't know them now. I have to Google my DOS keys now, but back then I remembered them with Windows
Mm,
3.1 and stuff. But that game, I loved playing that game on our 11-inch CRT black and white monitor. And then my dad got a color one, and you could see all the colors for well he got a color one for the family, I should say. He had a color one for his work, not us, for the family. But that game has stuck with me for a long time. There are plenty of other games that stuck with me, but that is like one when people say, "What's your oldest favorite game?" And that one, because it's just simple racing game, but it was so cool. I thought in DOS it was, you go to the newspaper, you select your car, you have this much money to spend, and
mm-hmm.
then you have a little bit extra money to tweak the car to be, do you want better suspension? Do you want better engine? Do you want better tires for better
Oh,
grip?
yeah.
And so and it's all in DOS. I was like, wow, this is, as a little kid,
Yeah.
I had
That,
no idea. And even to today, I'm like, this is a really well done game.
mm-hmm. That's so
Um,
cool that they just had all of that functionality even then.
yeah. Even then, and then they
Yeah.
let you paint your car, the 8-bit Spectrum,
Yeah.
if you pay the $5 a paint job.
Oh,
Um,
man.
and so the whole idea was you had to start off with a $500 beater, and you would race. The end was you would have to beat like a '67 Corvette, and then you race for pink slips every time you beat that guy,
Okay.
and that was the game. And so you would accumulate all of these things and all these cars. I personally, as a little kid, never got. I always got to the Corvette, or the Corvette, and never beat it. And then now it's like, oh, this is simple. I can beat the whole game in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
But back then, as a little kid, I was addicted to this game so much.
I think
Um,
I'll have to check that out. One of the other shows I'm going to be starting is like a monthly game review where I just pick
yeah,
one, and I have to figure out. I'm going to name it something to do with backlog, something catchy. I have a couple name ideas written down, but just going back to older games that I either have wanted to play forever or that I never heard of, but I just want to go try. And that I think I might have to add it to it, just
yeah.
just to go try it.
Just to give it a try. I mean,
Yep.
I know a lot of people will go like with Commander King or something like that. I was like, yeah, I loved Commander King. back in the day. And there are some other games that everyone's brought, Mario Karts and
Well,
Street
yeah.
Fighters, and it's like, oh, I loved. I can talk to you about Street Fighter because there was a pizza place right by our house,
Ooh.
and my older brothers used to just dump hundreds of quarters into this, and they would play it all the time. And then I got good, and then my brother Steve built his main machine, and then I got really good at playing him on the arcade, and we just got really good at old school Street Fighter 2. Not even the turbo, but the regular ones.
Oh, okay.
Um, so there's stuff like that, and then you can get more modern computer stuff.
Well,
Go
talking about
on.
what you got good at against your brothers, is there a
Uh,
game you think you can still just dominate them in
oh
to this day?
no,
No.
I cannot probably dominate. I'm pretty good. I would say 45%, maybe 50%. 50% would be, oh, that would be hard. Maybe I could 49. I'm gonna give myself 49% of the time. I could beat Steve at Street Fighter.
Okay.
If we did a bit of the newer turbo ones, that probably bumps me up to like a 65%, maybe 75%.
That's not bad.
Uh, but if it's the regular Street Fighter 2 World Championship Edition, Steve could probably still kick my butt to this day.
Oh, wow.
On arcade, not like Super Nintendo, but on arcade.
Okay. Yeah, Super
Um,
Nintendo is where I learned how to be good at Street Fighter.
yeah, and that's how I did too.
Yep.
And but he mastered it on some greasy handled paddles with a slice of pizza, some quarters,
Oh, man.
and just the old school way of
I
doing
was
it
just,
back when
part of me
you know.
wishes I could have done that. I was a little late to that game,
Yeah, me too.
um, but that would have been fun.
Yeah. But when he first built his main machine, um, we would come over and he'd have there's like a randomizer, and we would play drinking games. And it's like, all right, I can drink, and well, I'll say I could
I
drink.
can drink, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so what it was is we both like bet shots. So what we did, we bet shots, not money. And
Hmm.
so the loser had to take the shot. And then so progressively, the idea was the person lost would get worse and worse and worse and worse.
And that's how
And
John
so
here got his tolerance.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So uh, there is a story of the first time I did that. Maybe for a later time.
Okay.
It, it's a not my proudest moment.
Well, that along with you and Jeff building your PC might have to be Patreon videos on your channel.
Maybe I'll do a
Yeah.
Patreon on my channel, or just some special stuff. I did think about earlier on of like, oh, my channel's not doing as good. How do I boost it? And doing a gaming and beer, but I really wanted to do like classical gaming, but I didn't have the rights. I don't have the rights to a lot of the games I'd want to go
Okay.
play, and so I was like, I know I'd probably technically be shut down for
Oh,
that. If anyone tried to do anything, I'm sure I can get away with it with editing tricks, but
right.
I just
Or could you
didn't
do
want.
some stuff on Twitch and just kind of link, see if you could bring people back and forth? That's tough to do.
That's tough to do,
Mm,
and so I don't know, but um, maybe in the future I'll still do something like that. I'm
yeah.
still thinking about that. I'm even thinking about doing a video of redoing my personal main cabinet and making it like a beer tap on there and recustomizing it. I never
Okay.
actually finished. It's a working cabinet, but I never finished it to make it look pretty.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I can now throw like some taps in there and make it pour out of the actual cabinet. And so
Oh,
that
that
would
would
be
be
kind of
pretty
a fun
cool.
video.
Yeah,
So I get a little bit of
that would be fun. That's
so,
a
but
and it maybe add in a little like workshop stuff, which would be different footage for you.
yeah.
Well,
No, I'm hoping, and hopefully actually in the next couple years I might be moving out of this place and get my own little piece of cool studio like Jeff has.
yeah.
So, But right now, essentially what it was is I got the garage. I told my wife, just give me the garage. You can have the rest of the house. And now I got backed into I just have a corner of the garage. So
Well,
no.
yeah, you compromised.
Yeah, I went from I had full control of the garage to I have a tiny little corner that I can't move anywhere from.
It's one of my favorite stories. When I told my boss was joking around about something with his wife my first day at my new job, and compromising. And I walked into his office, and I was like, "Yeah, so about a year and a half ago now, we already had a dog, and my girlfriend wanted to get a puppy, and I said, we shouldn't get a puppy right now, so we compromised and we got a puppy." And that's the whole story. But
That's the story.
yep.
And that's the exact same story of how I ended up with the second rabbit. It was, hey, let's not get a rabbit. Let's wait a bit. My wife's like, all right, let's compromise. A week later, I got a new rabbit.
Yep, that's how it works. Yeah,
Okay,
compromise.
I compromised. Yep. She got a rabbit, and I got less of the garage. Compromise.
That sounds like you won.
Yeah, it's totally fair. That's marriage in
Yep.
a nutshell.
Yeah. Uh, back to the tech and the gaming, and you were talking about your brother building his own rig,
Yeah.
and I don't know when did you ever build a rig back then, or did you kind of just hang out with them?
So what ended up like again on Jeff's channel, he'll talk about his first rig, and Jeff was the oldest in his family, so I think his experience with computer parts, because his dad was really into the tech world too.
Okay.
It's a bit different than mine, because when my dad had stuff, he was like, okay, I'm upgrading his PC, and he'd give it to my oldest brother,
Yep.
and then he would give it down and down and down. So it trickled down 8 times before it hit me. And so when stuff got to me, it was nothing matched. RAM wasn't even the same,
Yeah.
brand names, motherboards were this, CPUs, cases, hard drives were just, oh, I don't care what it is, I'm just gonna plug in all these hard drives. So when I built my first PC, I have no idea what it was, because it was just, here's parts, and I'm an 11-year-old boy who just got computer parts. Yep,
Right.
let's go.
Just see if it works. Let's play a game.
See if it works, and it worked, and I was like, great. I'm so happy it worked. I did something. Did I care what it was? No.
That's all that matters, though, is that you had something that you could do something with, that you could play a game with, or whatever.
I played Diablo and Warcraft.
There you go.
All day long. Age of Empires.
Didn't you? Was it you? Did you play Unreal Tournament, or is that a
I played
thing?
Unreal.
Okay.
Oh, that was me. I love.
Thought so.
Unreal Tournament. Oh, Sniper. The balcony. That was my jam.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember you bragging about a little Unreal Tournament because Jeff was talking about getting an Unreal Tournament 4 server up at some point, and
yes, it was that. I was like, oh, you need Unreal Tournament, and I said Tribes.
Yep.
I was a big Tribes guy too. And even the older first-person shooters, I loved playing Doom. Duke Nukem 3D has a very soft place in my heart. I mean, the hologram idea of throwing a hologram out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen another first-person shooter have that idea of, my weapon is a decoy.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before, and it was the first time I ever saw the landmine aspect of the laser mine, the trip mines. Like, that's fantastic.
Now every other shooter tries to do those things, but
yeah, and it was. I go back to playing it. I'm like, this is horrible. But Bruce Campbell is the voice of this, so how can I be pissed off at this? And so it's just a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing LAN parties with my brother Steve, and we would haul around big CRTs, and he was, the older guy in his mid-20s, and I was this young teenager, and him and his coworkers would, like 30 of them, would rent a rec center out, and with shag carpet and order Domino's pizza and Mountain Dew and Coke. And I was this 13-year-old kid, and after like the third or fourth time I did it, I was like, dude, there's this 13-year-old kid, and he's like hanging with everyone, and
Yeah.
like he's like mid-level half the time, and he's killing half the people here. And so it's like, this is awesome. Half-Life 2, tagging people in Half-Life.
Yeah, that.
Um,
Oh.
and then they came up with skins. Oh, God. There's
Well,
many.
and
So
then
many
they
good
went
memories.
to they built. I mean, essentially that's what Counter-Strike was built off of.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.6 and then Source, and then yeah, it all happened from there.
Yeah.
So it's crazy what comes from the modding community, because that was really the modding community that started that, and then Valve ran with it.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I remember going to Steve's house and just like, oh, check out this latest skin someone just created. Let's go download and upload it.
Yup.
And it was awesome. Like, what's the latest thing from Valve? And just trying to say like, oh my gosh, this water's so cool. Or oh, check out,
Oh
he's
man.
petting his gun.
Yeah, some of the stuff they did. I mean, another game I look back at, and I don't know if you played this. This was early Xbox days, so it would have been like 2003, 4ish. I think it was Far Cry Predator. So it was
Yeah.
between 1 and 2.
Okay.
And it was the first time I'd ever played a game where I could build a map in game, because you had a
Oh,
full land editor, but also the
yeah.
water. And I think the water is that thing that everyone looks at in every game. But I
Oh, yeah.
remember that's the one that stood out to me. I walked up to the water and I'm like, holy crap, it's real life.
Yeah.
This is.
I remember things like that, thinking that. Yeah.
I try.
I
I went back and tried to play that game like 2 years ago, and I was like, I thought this was real life.
I know. There are so many of those things now. I look back and I'm like, there's no way. No. This new monitor is like making it look horrible.
Right?
That's what it's got to be. It's like, no, this was revolutionary. I remember it. Like, it was crystal clear.
Yeah. No, I feel like I have those moments every once in a while, where I was just
You
like, I thought this looked so good then.
Yeah, I know. This was so good. I remember looking at Diablo 1 and
Hmm.
being like, oh, okay, I was a little kid and there was the demon girls. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yup.
There's a lot of Diablo playing at night for me. And and then just going back now, like, what was I looking at?
Right.
It's a couple pixels. It's
Uh,
like looking at Grand Theft Auto 1.
yeah. Oh, top down. Oh, that was a fun game though.
Yeah.
That even I wish they would bring back out the Simpsons. What was it? Hit and Run.
The road, yeah, the
Oh
hit and
man,
run. Yeah, I
that
remember
was
that.
a good game, and I'd love.
That was a good game.
They should just remaster it. Essentially, just re-release it so it's easier to play on newer hardware. Because
Yeah,
that would be a game I'd love to go back and play again.
someone just needs to put like the Unreal Engine on it and,
Yeah.
and redo it, and that would be fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
there's plenty of games out there that are doing that now, and like you said, the modder community is doing that type of stuff
Hmm.
because that Unreal Engine is actually pretty easy. I kind of wanted to dive into. I was watching a tutorial on it 2 days ago, and I was like, I could probably do this, and it's really simple looking because a lot of it is just dragging lines.
That's
like,
what.
okay, this aspect of this aspect
Yeah.
of this. There's no coding involved anymore unless you need something very, very specific.
Hmm.
But for the most part, they have all the controls there for you. It's just a matter of dragging, connecting the lines.
It's almost more
sticking
like
it together.
hopping into an Autodesk program where you're just doing some CAD work rather than actually having to code in stuff.
Yes,
They do it
exactly.
for you
And
in the
so,
background.
yeah, so once you learn all of those little things, it might take you, a couple days to figure out, but then you're like, oh, I can do this. I can
Hmm.
do this. And so I thought about doing that, and like doing like, a Hops and Brews craft computing video game. I was like, oh, this would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Like you capture all of the characters. Like we just take a picture and 3D wrap all of the host names or faces.
Oh, yeah,
And
that
put
would be
them over
fun.
a dummy, and then do like a first-person shooter.
Hmm. That would be perfect. I'm still looking forward to when Jeff sets up one of these servers. Yeah, I know he's been talking about a couple different games doing it with. He was talking about a StarCraft server on one of the more recent episodes to get everyone in on. But just something to hop in on with everybody and just
Yeah,
have a good time.
privately we've done it. Privately we've done it to
Yep.
test it, and it hasn't gone the best.
Oh, okay.
So but we did try bigger games. Is I think the
Oh,
problem. And so I think the reason why we were talking last time I was on, so 2 weeks ago,
yep.
was with the lower graphics intense games, so more going classic stuff, is
Like
because he doesn't need to use the GPU. It's all CPU related.
well, you're talking
Um,
KOTOR, I think, right? Knights of the Old
yeah,
Republic, yeah.
and
And
so
that would
you're
be
saying that.
I would love to hop into that again. And
Yeah, and so he could, just from his cores alone, could do like 32 players and not even scratch his GPU.
yeah,
Something he hasn't tested yet, but theoretically his hardware should be able to handle that.
I would think so.
Um,
He's got that
so
Threadripper, so.
yeah.
Well, actually, in what server is that off of, though?
No, he's got a couple Xeons
Yeah,
in that one.
it's the is that the dual Xeon? It's one of
And
the
I
Chinese motherboards,
no,
or
he's
is that
got something
actually a
else,
server?
and
Oh, it's
he
one of the
might have.
servers he bought.
Yeah, it's one of his new servers, and he's got
Yeah,
like two Xeons in that.
yep.
And I know he just got two more Xeons
Because he
yesterday.
keeps doing the
So
AliExpress Xeons. I
no,
know.
these ones he got, I think from another Patreon,
Oh, okay.
and
Well,
so they're pretty nice and
fancy.
fancy stuff. So yeah, he constantly gets new stuff, and it's a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit
Yep.
better. That's why you see all these new server builds and server redoing, and it's like, well, I got this new part and I want to put it in, and well, I'll make a
Yep.
video. I mean, that's what you got to do, because he's big enough now. He does need to release content
Oh, yeah.
monthly.
He needs to do it consistently, and it's tough.
So whether it's good or bad or whatever, it's just got to be like, got to keep plugging it, and it's kind of back to the YouTube thing. It's draining. It is
Yeah.
draining.
Yeah, I mean, if Jeff can get one of those servers going for like KOTOR or like I know you brought up Unreal Tournament to him, or StarCraft, even like a 32 man server in one of those games in some way, shape, or form. I know not all of them can do 32 man, but
Yeah.
it, in some way, shape, or form, if he can get a server going for all of us to jump into that are in the Discord at different times, that'd be a really, really fun time to even stream or something.
Yeah, no, I think that is one of the new things he's trying to do. I don't know if you heard, but so he's going to be starting up hopefully a second channel really soon.
Yep.
That is gaming specific, and Rhett's going to be taking over that. But I believe this server is also going to help with that. Is going to be some like, I don't know if it's going to be like talking heads deal or co-host, play, but I think I don't know if there'll be live stream, but there might be more of, it's Patreon exclusive, and it might be like a particular tier of Patreon,
Oh.
because now for the longest time it's been that single dollar gets you in, bare minimum gets
Yep.
you 100% access, and once this starts going up, I think Jeff is trying to make a little bit that first jump into, okay, now we have a two-tier system. You
Yeah.
get, the one tier, you're still going to get access to the whole chat room, you're going to get access to all
Mhm.
that good stuff, but then there are these features that get you private communications with me, and that's what I
Yeah.
think he's going to be trying to sell
That makes
of the gaming.
sense.
Hey, you're going to be pro gaming or gaming with the co-host and myself. We're
Yeah.
always going to be on type thing, and so that's going to be like, oh, this is level 2, and even then it's going to be pretty decent price. I believe he's trying to shoot for nothing unreasonable whatsoever, because Jeff's been great at this whole entire
Right.
thing. But enough about plugging his channel. Who gives a shit?
Well, I wanted to say, I almost hate doing this because you plug it more than you should have to, in my opinion. That's just
No,
me.
I think
But
I don't.
I mean, it's great either way.
I don't think so. I think we're all here to help Jeff. We
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 are,
were
yeah.
originally started, and we all helped Jeff out. We love Jeff as good friends, and
Mhm.
and I think that is one of the things that maybe a Rhett will start doing will realize just Rhett's been doing podcasting for way longer than
Right.
any of us, and so he knows that. But YouTube's a little bit different beast. So it's one of those like I'll just constantly you'll hear me when
Yeah.
I'm on plug the Discord like
Oh,
constantly.
yeah, and I try to do that. I go on my friend's channel sometimes, and I'm the same way where I'm just like, guys, come check
Exactly.
out his stuff. Like he does professional
Exactly.
photography. Like
And
come check out his wedding
and
photos. So
yeah,
I get it.
and for the co-host, I think that's a job you have to just do
Yeah.
as a thing. That's a good co-host.
Oh yeah, I
And so
know it was sarcasm when I was saying like you do
yeah.
it too much.
No, yeah, there is that too. I agree. I probably do to it. But no, there are plenty of times where he has never told me, "Hey, I'm going to plug your channel,"
Hmm.
or "I'm going to feature your video in the background of my video."
Hmm.
And he's never told me that, and he's done that, and I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
posts, and so it's just been like it's a great back and forth, a great communication, a
it
great
is.
friendship. So it's that's why it's like no one sees it as a horrible like, oh, you're plugged my channel or he's paying you. We don't get
Right.
paid. We literally do this just so we have people to drink with. That is what we do this channel for. And then what
That's
I do
yeah.
my channel for is I love exploring beer, but I also love sharing beer.
Mm.
Like I kind of said at the beginning of the episode, you've seen my fridge probably on Jeff's Discord pictures of it. It's a big double
Well, I mean,
door
I've seen you
cooler.
empty your fridge, I think, two or three
Yeah,
times on your channel. That's where people
and
should go for it.
yeah, but probably
But yeah.
50 to 60% of that fridge are these big rare beers. And what I
Yep.
love to do is they're not just for aging, but they're aging and also for sharing. Is when I
Yeah.
have guests come over, I don't drink my regular beers
Hmm.
with them. I drink, what do you like? Hey, I got this rare thing. I spent $75 on it. I want to share it with you. I want to
That's
share that experience with you instead of
usually what
myself.
these would be as well.
Yes, exactly. Something like that. I would probably
Yeah.
open up with someone, be like, Steve, Jeff, Rhett, come over, or I have plenty of other beer friends that like appreciate stuff and do stuff for me. And it's like, let's open this beer
Hmm.
instead. And that's majority of my beers that I have. And
Yep.
but that's also what Rhett, Steve, and Jeff also really enjoy. We do that in so many other things. Jeff has parts and we all have liquor and
Yeah.
experiences and different things, and so we all do
It's
that kind of stuff with each
bring
other.
it all together and have a good time.
That's
Yeah,
that's
and that's
really
really
what
what
we do it for.
it's what it's about. And then what I was actually gonna say when I made the joke about you plugging Discord was because I was about to plug it.
Mhm.
I have my Discord. I'm a part of probably 20 plus other Discords, and 95% plus of my time spent on Discord is in the craft computing Discord.
Right.
It even just as a lurker, I sit there and I love if I need a break for a couple minutes from work, just catching up on the chats. There's so much activity in there that you could look away for 10 minutes and every chat has new messages, and it's a really good time because of that. Because there's always, even if one of them you're not interested in at all, there's another chat you probably are, and it's I would love to build a Discord like that
Yeah,
someday.
that I know, right? And that's why people are always like, John, why don't you do that? I'm like, I'm already part of this. If you want to
Right. It's
join,
already
join,
there.
join that.
Yeah.
You'll see me there.
I've been trying
And
to get a couple of my buddies to just subscribe to his Patreon just to be a part of that Discord.
it's a great Discord. I mean, it's
Mhm.
like, okay, all my jokes, all my things, it's gonna go into that. And
Yeah.
um, you know, the you also kind of do have to like Star Trek a little bit. There's a
I
bit of a Star
I
Trek
had to
thing.
start Star Trek. Actually,
Yeah,
I was never a Star Trek guy. I'm a little bit into Next Generation. I need to get going on it again. I watched the first season so far, and I enjoyed it. Which everyone told me, if you enjoy the first season,
it's
you're
just
gonna
as good.
enjoy the rest because the first
Yeah,
season's the worst.
it's
So
it's hor first two seasons. Season two gets better like toward the end.
yeah,
Season three is amazing. Season
okay,
three on is just like, oh, this is the golden years of Star Trek, and DS9 is great. Voyager is got some really really great stuff, and even some of the bad ones, especially like we hark Jeff and I hark on like Discovery, and honestly, I started watching the latest one. Of like, nope, season three, just like Next Generation. You
Yeah.
gotta get to season three, and it's totally worth it.
Yep. And
So
I know you were saying that in one of the talking heads too. Like, if you get, and it was one of those things like get through the first couple episodes and it gets really good.
yeah,
So yeah, I'll catch up. I know DS9 is the second on my list once I get through Next Generation, because I have a friend who that is like bar none his favorite Star Trek. He
no,
likes the darker side of it.
it is a really good darker side, and again, the first season or two, there are some horrible episodes. I mean, it's just like cringe worthy. Like, I would never
Mhm.
watch. Even the actors when they do interviews were like, I wouldn't have ever agreed to that, but I was starved and broke,
Oh man.
type of a thing, and like that was my only job.
Hmm.
Um, and then it gets really good. It gets really good later on, but it is a, and they that show revolutionized a lot of how modern shows are kind of the episodic, because they told this big story through like three seasons,
Yeah,
and they were one of the first sci-fi and even one of the first to do it.
that
So
might be what makes it feel more modern to me, because when I watch Next Generation right now, the first season, it never felt that old to me. It
no,
didn't feel as old as it was, and I think it was because of the like you said, the episodic nature. How even though they would tell an individual story in each episode, they still keep the overall plot going throughout. So
yeah,
you need to stick with it to find out what happens. But I think we've kind of gone on a little bit. We've gone off tangent or off on a tangent multiple
now,
times here.
now you know how Jeff feels.
Now I know how easy it is to do this when you guys get together, have a couple of drinks, and get
Yep,
going. It just flows. So
it just flows.
it was awesome having you on here. Do you want to plug your socials one more time? I'm gonna put them in the
Yeah,
description too, but go for it.
yeah. So you can, just like Jeff says, you can pretty much find me anywhere. Hops and Brews. Um, check out my Twitter. I'm always posting some either tech related or beer related stuff on there. I try to keep everything always humorous. I don't do anything other than I try, just everything is just humor for me. That's otherwise social media is just boring.
Yeah.
But my YouTube channel, Hops and Brews. Check out Craft Computing. You can see me on every Wednesday, or every other Wednesday, I should say, on Talking Heads. And there is a great guy named Jeff there that does some really cool tech stuff. If you also like tech and other beer related things, and there are some other two hosts that, who care about them? Um,
No
might just happen to
relation.
be my brother. Yeah, who cares? Doesn't look anything like me. So yeah, check all that stuff out. And thank you, Mike, for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on. And who knows, maybe down the road we'll do another one of these. But
I would love to do another one.
this was a lot of fun. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Mike.
And for you guys, this is Cave Conversations, episode number 6. We're going to sign out here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.